Hey, everyone. It's time to relive some past trauma that was bestowed upon us in 1993 by looking back into the movie Once Upon a Forest. So put your therapist on speed dial because I am going to explain the crap out of this animated gem. It's morning, and somewhere deep into the Dapplewood Forest, three young critters are getting ready for another day of school. And today is a special day because they are going on a hike. Abigail, the wood mouse, says goodbye to her father. Russell, the hedgehog, fights over food with his siblings as he says goodbye to his mom. And Edgar the mole, with extreme anxiety, gets smothered by his mother's love. The teacher's niece, Michelle, the badger, is waiting outside the school because the rest is late on such an important day. So she is ready to rip them a new one. But it's all okay, because their teacher Cornelius was still busy tinkering on his model airplane, which the kids accidentally immediately demolish. So with a shattered heart, Cornelius is now ready to go. Annabelle and Russell are playing and run ahead of the group. They accidentally run onto a road. Russell is almost crushed by a car as the driver throws a glass bottle out of the window. Cornelius warns the kids about the dangers of roads, and they quickly retreat into the forest. He planned a surprise boat trip for the kids to enjoy themselves and learn along the way. But back at the road, a large tanker passes at top speed, carrying a dangerous poison gas. It drives over the glass bottle's remains on the road and blows a tire. The truck crashes into the forest, and the gas starts to release. Back on the river, the kids are making a mess out of their little boating trip, which is pissing Cornelius off. But he's distracted by the birds flying away, warning them of danger. The teacher wants to rush back home to check on the damage, but as soon as Michelle sees what happened, she starts to panic and runs to her house. Cornelius warns the kids that there is a deadly gas in the house and stops to think. But Abigail acts. She runs into the house while covering her mouth and nose. She finds Michelle's parents dead and Michelle passed out, so she picks her up and carries her to safety. Outside, Cornelius confirms that Michelle is still alive and tells the kids to follow him to take shelter at his home, believing that probably all the kids' parents are already dead by the gas. At his home, Cornelius tells the kids about when he was young and the humans attacked the forest. He trauma dumps his only human experience on them, which pretty much scars them for life. Then he tells the kids that to save Michelle, they will need two herbs, Lungworth and Eyebright, to concoct a cure for Michelle. So, the logical choice is, of course, to send a bunch of kids into a poisoned forest alone, to travel great distances to find an herb they have never seen before. What could possibly go wrong? So the next day, they set off on their quest. And as the first day passes, they reach the edge of the forest, and night is approaching. They decide to go on through the night, but this catches the attention of an owl, and he snatches Abigail of the ground and takes her to his nest. But she uses a magnifying glass to scare the large winged predator off and escapes his nest. The three of them run for their lives and crawl under a bark to hide from the owl. But the bird does not give up so easily. Edgar starts to dig himself into safety and throws all the sand into the owl's face, which finally fights him off. The kids fall asleep, but the next morning wake up from the sound of singing. It's a preacher and his followers. They are holding a funeral for a kid that is clearly not dead yet. The kid is stuck in quicksand, and they just gave up on the poor little bastard without even trying to save him. Edgar comes up with a plan using science to get the four-eyed chicken out of there, and they postpone the funeral and have a party instead. They ask the preacher for tips on how to proceed with their quest, and he warns them because to get what they need, they will need to cross the land of the yellow dragons. They encounter the dragons. They look more like caterpillars, but what do I know? And run their way through them till they eventually escape the large beasts into the sewer. And this finally leads them to the meadow where the herbs are. After chatting with the locals, and Abigail is done flirting with some good-looking mouse, The group finds the Eyebright. Now all they need is the Lungworth, which is high up on the side of a cliff. Russell suggests they use Cornelius's flying machine. So cue the movie montage. After they are done tinkering, they finally finished the flapper wingama thing. They fly up high in the air and in risk of their own lives manage to rip the Lungworth of the side of the mountain. And now it's time to fly back home. Just as they are almost home, they get stuck in a storm and make a crash landing in the Dapplewood. They rush back to Cornelius his home to save Michelle. But first, they have to escape because humans are wandering around the forest. They exit through the back to try and escape certain death. But it's too late, and Edgar gets stuck in one of the human traps. But against all odds, the human frees Edgar and releases him back into the forest. The humans are there to preserve the wildlife and clear the forest of the harmful gas residue. Cornelius gives Michelle the herbs, but she appears unresponsive. However, a tear from Cornelius does finally awaken her. The kids' parents pop out of the woods. They were all safe in hiding. So in the end, everybody is finally happy again, and everything will go back to normal, except for Michelle because her parents are dead. Thank you for watching, and please comment how many years of therapy you needed after this movie.